Welcome to the show that looks behind the scenes of the videos we produce here at Eagle Vision. Join us as we break down, dissect, and discuss our process to find out just what it took. The owner of EM3, Jeff, contacted us to make something. Or did we contact him? Somebody was contacted to make something here, and we did it. Anyways, we made this video. This is the type of commercial I would probably consider like an ethos montage, something that gets to the heart and soul of a company while also laying out the wider scope of what they do. So without further ado, let's get to EM3, the commercial. Playing on your screen now, followed by me and Ben Hab talking about it.
The wilderness is an incredible force to be reckoned with. To tame it takes will, technology, teamwork, and courage. It takes a plan and the time-honored skill to know when to push and when to yield. It takes a family, people you've worked beside and trusted for years. People who know where to cut and how to get from A to B to C accurately. We're in the clearing business. We work for those with enough ambition to live and work in the wild north, clearing through mountains, valleys, forests, and muskeg, using some of the toughest equipment known to man, on massive projects and a few small ones too. We do all this without losing sight of nature's great value and its limited resources, taming the wilderness with accuracy, care, and respect, all while carving your path to progress.
Welcome back. I'm here with Ben Hab. Let's get into what we just saw here. This was our EM3 video. Introduce us to EM3 because you know this company really well and have worked with this client for a few years.
For sure. So I've worked with Jeff Doyle over the past, it's got to be coming up on 10 years now. Used to be EnviroMulch, and then they became part of Petro West, and now Jeff is back to being the owner of hence the EM3. It's the third iteration of EnviroMulch. And Jeff's just a really great guy to work with because he trusts the creative control that basically that we can provide their company.
Yeah, it's an interesting company. It's really eye-opening. I think you could look at this video on mute and it could look like they're just like destroying the forest.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is more surgical than that. They are very precise in what they do, and they're very conscious of the environmental impact and sort of just like doing it in a really exacting way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, why don't we step through this thing and we can just talk about every scene here.
Mm-hmm.
So here is we're on one of your drone shots that you got for it. Where was this?
This one, go a little bit further.
Sure.
I believe this is the one near Mackenzie. Yeah, this is the one just outside of Mackenzie there on the way to the Mount Milligan mine. Mm-hmm. And there was just a nice sunset. It was kind of the nice landscape valley shot that we were looking for to show that uncut wilderness. And down in Mackenzie, I mean, there was next to no survey lines or anything. So that was kind of the goal of this shot, was to show nothing's been touched, but this is where we have to go.
For sure. And we should talk about our voiceover guy we got for this. We used him for one other thing. Tom Malone. I think he's kind of like a hidden gem in this commercial. I feel like his voice really like brought the attitude we wanted to this, you know? He did a great job, had that gravelly voice. And when I was he was recording on the phone with me because he lives in Toronto, and we kept stepping it towards movie trailer guy.
Yeah, totally.
And we were trying to find the tone for it. So I feel like we stopped just short.
Yeah, can you do that again? Just swallow a bit more gravel.
That's right. And he did that. And
Yeah.
I think he really liked it. He said he works in construction, so he really liked working on this and sort of seeing
Yeah.
the finished video and that kind of thing.
Nice.
And then now we're here on set.
Mhm. Set.
We're here on location,
Mhm.
where they were all these shots were actually filmed where they were actually clearing something. So this is somebody's property. We dramatized a little bit of this, carrying the lunch bucket in, getting in the machine. Actually all of this stuff, I can't think of a situation where we used a movie light. I might find one here, but a lot of this is just utilizing the natural light.
Well, they've got those big bay doors with the I don't know what, it's not a acrylic, that coroplast, kind of that see-through coroplast on their
makes
garage doors.
Beautiful light, actually. Like
giant softbox.
Yeah, you couldn't build a better lighting setup, especially because it's so directional.
Yeah.
But this is something, when I see commercials like this, or I've seen them in the past for bigger brands, where it looks like they traveled like across Canada or across America to get like all these different shots or like intimate moments with people or that kind of thing. When something's more of like a montage based edit like this, the question I always have is like, how many people are on the crew? You know, how many people and how many days is this and how long does it take? And I think I've heard a few stories about different methods of some people will go out with a small crew for like a month, and they kind of road trip it and get all the footage they need and then come back. And I'd say we sort of followed that model for this one because we had to basically be where the machines were, because these machines, you can't just pick one up and take it, so like you can. We did a little bit of that, but it's a process. Yeah, it'll take half a day to get everything set up or whatever. So we had to sort of go where they already were or were going to be or that kind of thing. So scheduling that, I think this took us about a month probably to execute, because it was all these mini shoots or half-day shoots where I would head out by myself, or me and Leanne would go.
What was it like watching especially the Iron Wolf, the big guy here?
Well, it's incredible.
Demolish its first tree. Like
it just feels like nothing is in its way.
Yeah.
And we had to stay pretty far back when they were like getting into it. We did. You'll see in a little bit. We used some GoPros that like we were like, if it kills the GoPro, fine. We'll see what we can get. We hope, but it didn't. We did it like 8 times, and it never killed a GoPro. So that's a testament to GoPros.
Yeah.
But we didn't let it eat the whole tree like it is here. But this is just great. This is just what you see. It's just gobbling stuff up, and.
Well, we had some footage from the drone of the Prez project that they were working on, and up above, and you see like 3/4 of this tree still out from the machine, and it just sucked it right through, and just out the backside is nothing but.
And then it's gone. Yeah, it just like
it's crazy.
These machines are like a delete button. You know? They just say no. It's like when you're playing like Minecraft or SimCity, and you're like, no, I don't want a forest there. I want that to be field. Yeah. And this is the crew. This is all the people who work there. The guy in the cab there. Oh, I should get back up a little bit. Do a spotlight search. Guy in the cab here. That's Donovan. I'm pretty sure his name was. He helped us do all this stuff.
Yeah.
To make this thing. It was pretty cool. He was operating most of the time. And that's Jeff in the center there. He's the guy who runs the business, owns the business, and
makes everything happen.
Makes it all happen. Leanne has a cameo here, which is pretty great. We did a shot of her taking a picture. Then the picture gets printed and hung up in their office.
Yeah.
So that was a process too, because she actually took that picture on that day. So we came back for like this quick one shot.
A couple days later.
Yeah. A few days later, got it printed at Unforgettable Memories, which is a staple in town. And here's their boardroom. Actually, I use lights here, so it's just a little dark. I didn't want to use like the top lights, like the your fluorescents or pot lights, that kind of thing. They're all too sort of hot, and I think there's just a 1 or 2 lights over here, sort of making like a window there might be one behind camera too, just sort of filling in that shadow a bit, so you can see like on her face and stuff.
So you would have had the one, like an aperture 120 and a panel light here.
Yep. Yeah, we had the 120, which is right up here. There it is. And the panel light, which is right there. And that's like, oh man, these two panels and an aperture light are kind of been my go-to for lots of stuff. It's quick and it's clean daylight balance light. Works with the windows.
Yeah.
I love it. And then we just pulled the blinds on this a little bit to cut the blowout of the background.
Yeah.
And I love this shot. We did this a bunch of times, but I was just running the camera handheld, like with the rails sort of on the table.
Just to keep it kind of that same plane down on the table. And
just set the focus at one point, trying to keep with his finger. And then he just sort of points where they're going to go. Mm-hmm. This is how nobody operates heavy equipment, with like a big, like, here we go. But I asked him to do it to dramatize this next shot. Where this tree is getting deleted from existence.
Yeah.
He
from
is
the
Minecrafting that into more wood.
Yeah.
So he can create more stuff. This one, so this one's we're in a valley. Tree was coming down, and we were kind of concerned where this tree was going to fall, that it might fall in the camera. We shot this one with the black magic. I had to grade back the sky quite a bit though, because it was like pure white.
Pretty hot, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why you can see it sort of blooming there. I was trying to repair some of the stuff that's going on. And then this is our GoPro shot, which this one's my favorite one that we got. I love that it just like sort of crushes the camera.
Well, it made for a good transition point.
For sure. And I used some of the audio from the actual GoPro in that one, because it worked. Got a little branding hit here. In the long shots, these look really cool. They're like just sort of like
everything's kind of moved, parallaxing with each other.
Yeah. It's difficult with these types of things, because I did storyboard this out of what I wanted to see, or I shot listed. I didn't storyboard it. But then getting what you can on the day sort of changes your shot list a bit. So afterwards, we weren't able to get like exactly what I was thinking all the time, mostly because we couldn't be standing too close. So we had to get inventive about where the camera was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's your dad.
Yes, a cameo of my dad and my brother-in-law.
And your brother-in-law, yeah. And a little Eagle Vision plug.
Yes.
I like that. So this is just this is just behind your house, because their farm backs onto your property. So we actually snagged them while they were actually bailing.
Yeah.
So I think this is a pretty shot. This is probably a good time to pull out our cameras and maybe talk about them, what we actually use to shoot these things, what we've been using primarily lately. So what we got here are two Blackmagic Cinema Camera, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4Ks.
Or the BMPCC 4K.
Yeah, it sounds more technical than it should. But these are my favorite cameras in existence right now, because they are compact, they're cost effective, and they just make a beautiful image that's really comparable to something like an Arri Alexa or like a Red Epic camera or something like that. They're really great. They shoot 4K. And as we talked about in the last video, their menu system is unreal.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So there's just like these 4 panels, like record, monitor, audio, setup, presets, Luts. And then each of those 4 panels has maybe just a couple pages of menus, but it's all very self-explanatory, very easy to navigate. If you've used a camera before, you can instantly use this menu.
Yeah, it's nothing like the C200 or the Sony's menu, or what's a terrible one?
Sony menus are pretty bad.
The Sony menus are pretty bad. Yeah,
they go deep.
Yeah, well, especially with the mirrorless ones, they're pretty intense to get through, because you pretty much have to, because there's like each section has like 12 pages.
Yeah.
on it, and you're like, and that's the same with the like C100 and C200s. They're the same way, like buried stuff. In order to format a card, you have to be through like 4 levels deep.
Yeah, for sure.
Ridiculous.
To get to the thing that you want, and then
Yeah.
sometimes it's abbreviated and you're not sure what that abbreviation means. So you'd actually have to look at the manual,
Yeah.
stuff like
yeah.
that.
And these cameras, really, all they are is like this little body part right here and a lens on the end. Like all the other stuff is just extra peripheral.
We make them big.
Stuff. We make them big, to do what we want them to do. But aside from that, you can have this as a compact. You put like a pancake lens on there, like a 40 mil pancake lens.
Yeah.
And you're like 4 inches deep, 5 inches deep.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that big at all. We do operate with this little thing here. You can't quite see it from there, but this is the Metabone Speed Booster. And this is kind of like an essential part of the camera for me. Like it's almost, they should build these things right onto the camera. That's
the thing. That was the one thing that about these cameras that I was a little gun shy on, was that micro Four Thirds sensor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little concerned, but then when that speed booster squeezes everything down, like I am in love with a micro Four Thirds sensor, because you could take a 2.8 lens, an f2.8, which is the aperture size, and squeeze that down to 1.8, or you can take like the Sigma lenses that we have on there, the 1.8s, and make them a 1.2.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have this really high end, really low light lens out of something that doesn't cost you $1 bajillion either.
Exactly. And like you couldn't get a 1.1 lens before this
with a variable with a variable focal length. No, you definitely could.
Oh, for sure. In a zoom. So the fact that the zooms are 1.8 is crazy. And if anyone at home is wondering what we're talking about, this is the iris you've seen, like almost the James Bond iris in the camera lens that you've seen probably before. It gets bigger and smaller, and all that does is lets more light in, just like the iris in your eye, or less light. And when you let more light in, you get that really nice shallow background that feels cinematic and feels like photography, Let's talk about the rigs we got these things in. Just briefly take a little tour of the camera for any of those interested in, because people like myself basically love to see how people rig these things up. So we both got ours in the small rig cage, which is a nice little bit of armor that goes around the camera here, protects it from damage. And then allows you to connect things like this top handle. It stores a little Allen wrench for you. And then on the handle I have, something I really like is having the monitor out here.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do that is so then I can shoulder mount the camera like this. I'm looking at my monitor and sort of shooting a quick shoulder mount like that. And one of my big pet peeves with lots of camera setups is the fact that you can't switch to a quick handheld to a quick tripod. You have to go through like a procedure where you construct or deconstruct something. And my goal with the setup here was to get that thing as easy to change as possible. And then on the back, everything is just Velcroed on to this little cheese plate I have here. And I find for me, especially when I'm doing one-man operation, just this is the easiest possible way I can think to get stuff on and off quick. I got to change batteries. I just take it off and it goes back on. And it stays on really well. Batteries don't fly off or anything. So.
The only difference we really have between our two rigs is one is the power pack, and then our follow focus we've got, you can see this Aries mount there. We have a wireless follow focus that we plunk on here from Nucleus. And then, for the power pack, we got something a little bit more, or a little bit universal. Ours has a V-mount battery system, which we've actually adapted to with newer, which is super cheap, like beyond cheap, probably cheaper than it needs to be. But and then just we run Sony LP batteries, and that will run this camera solid for about 4 hours.
Yeah, for a long time.
Which is nice.
Like having a V mount, only without the cost of a V mount, and they're the same batteries we use for the Sony camera.
Yeah.
And these panel lights that we have, they use the exact same batteries. I guess I should also mention the tripod that I use.
Yes, I love your tripod.
I got just like the regular 3-stage aluminum legs on it, but this is the Miller DS20. You do not need a DS20 for this camera setup. You could go with a DS10, which is like a lot cheaper. But I got this one because I was like, well, what if I ever rent a bigger camera, or I wanted a tripod I could use for anything. It has 2 counterbalance settings, which isn't a lot, but it's kind of like the one caveat for this. It'd be great if I could dial in my counterbalance exactly. But if I just leave it on the 1 setting, and between 1 and 2, it works really well for this, this weight of camera. When the camera gets a little lighter, that's where it doesn't work as well. But great tripod. I've used this thing in every temperature, and it works the same, unlike cheaper tripods I've had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever proprietary agent is greasing this thing up on the inside is good stuff. So yeah, really recommend this guy. Easy for quick setups. That's another reason I really like it, but also substantial. So it's like your camera's not going to fall over or anything like that. So, so yeah, that's good. I think the last thing I want to talk about camera-wise is the Luts we use in this thing. So we, on all the stuff that you've seen that's shot with this camera, we use something called a buttery Lut, which you can find online. They sell a Lut pack for, I think it's like $40. And it's great. A Lut is something that just lives on top of the footage. So the sensor gathers all this raw data, and so you can output this sort of, it kind of looks like a bland image, but it's a log format image. So so the color information and all the dynamic range is there, but it doesn't look like pretty yet.
Great, yeah.
But the Luts we've been using for this comes in a pack where it comes with like 6 Luts. One that is contrast, like just has a nice contrast, nice saturation, and then there's a bunch of versions that have plus or minus contrast. So you could add a little bit of the Lut and then focus your color correction beyond it. So I'm a big fan of it. I think it's an essential purchase with this camera because it gives you just a really beautiful result right away, and it's mimicked after the RE Alexa Rec 709 Lut that they use. What I shot just before this, when you saw me, that was just the straight Lut, no color correction. This video that we're watching, the EM3 commercial, like I color corrected every single shot. So there was something special done to everyone, but just right out of camera makes it look awesome. So definitely wanted to recommend that. Yeah, so that's our camera setups. Check these guys out if you're looking for a camera to make something cinematic, or you're looking for a company to make something cinematic. We have 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's quickly go through the rest of this. We get into some really nice drone shots here from you. These are really good.
Thanks. These are all in the Pine Pass there. That's actually, if you look to your left, that's part of Powder King there, where we shot a bunch of the Gemini commercial.
That's right.
All of these places I grabbed dozens and dozens of drone shots for Dave to choose from.
I had a lot. I had
a lot of
full
stuff
buffet.
To work with.
All I could eat. Drone shots, yeah. No, and they're great. And this is a common landscape around here. This is probably some of the hardest stuff they have to work through is this marshy stuff.
Yeah.
When they're doing clearing and that kind of thing, and road building and transmission.
Oh yeah, because you can have marshes that are 30, 40 feet deep, like just gross stuff to work in.
This is a great cameo from your kids.
Yes, well, my kids are running about and Dave's chasing them down. That's actually why they're running.
That's right, they're running.
Come back!
We quickly built them some scrap wood swords and some flags. I don't know if you can see the flags or not, but they are.
And originally we were going to have Hudson running with them, but
yes,
he did not want to die all that much.
He didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. I like this shot a lot. This is probably my favorite drone shot. I love looking down at the trees like this. Yeah,
this one is just this is almost at the actual Mount Milligan mine on the road there that goes between Mackenzie and St. James, and there's just tons of this boreal forest sitting there.
Yeah,
Nothing but spruce and pine.
We're not wanting for beautiful landscapes in Fort St. John.
No.
All these vistas like this, you could probably make this like a Windows Vista background.
Oh, totally.
You know, just the still there. And then this, I want to talk quick about the sound here because this is my favorite sound effect I ever made. I had a tin like camping sign that someone bought for me, and I had a bottle Windex, and to make the sound of him stepping out of this thing, I hit them together in an office. Yeah, it was like clunk clunk, and it just made the perfect like clunk sound of steel toe boot on
track. Yeah. Whereas when you would actually step on that track, it probably wouldn't make much noise at all.
Yeah. There was no noise to be had. But here's Donovan again, stepping out, looking at his finished product.
Big old hero shot.
Just proudest man. Yeah, and then this next shot,
this
we
is
travel
actually
at 700 miles an hour.
Yeah. So I'm probably at about, like 35 to 40 kilometers an hour here.
Mm-hmm.
And it would.
It was definitely like it was a nice fast flyover. When I saw the shot, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm just gonna plop it in. But just to like enhance it, I ended up putting in the color grade part a little bit of motion blur down here. So the things that were like closest to the camera were getting blurry.
Well, part of that is because we haven't grabbed a set of ND filters for this particular camera, so our shutter speed is way up there. So you don't get that nice buttery smooth look when things are close to the lens like this.
Yeah.
So it was a good hide of our ND list filter for the front of that camera.
Every job I figure out another little trick to match the drone footage with these cameras. There's always something that hides
so
it a little
different.
bit better. Yeah, they're very different.
Even between our Sony and the Blackmagic, it's so different yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we go super speed here, and then you can see the motion blur. I upped it a lot for that one. And then we got a nice little motion graphic here, which you made.
Yeah, that one was a fun one to make.
Super dramatic, and it works for this company. Like what they do is dramatic. So everything we tried to do for them, we were trying to just enhance that, showcase it, and just follow sort of the aesthetic they already have. It was a fun challenge for sure. Every client is always a new challenge because you're like, how do I make what they do? How do I show what they do in an exciting light? Some companies are a lot less exciting than this, but even so, how do I draw people in who might not have any, like they might not need this service, but it's good for them to we still want them to watch the whole commercial and know about this company for recommendations, for just general public knowledge that they're out there in case you do need it, and to energize their current client base and be like, yeah, this is the company that did my property or did my thing, you know. So I think there's a lot of value in these types of like ethos montage commercials, to show just like kind of like a cinematic sense, sort of like a tone poem of what the company does.
Oh, totally. Well, and the sense of employee pride that, you know, when their own employees watch this video, they're like, you know what I do is pretty cool. Yeah. And, you know, it gives them a sense of pride in the work that they're doing, because it is like, we get to basically show people at their work's prime, essentially. And when that's pretty cool. That's definitely.
So a lot of clients ask us to do something that explains like their entire industry top to bottom. And some of the times the thing we speak to in that is like, why not just show them the highlight reel, or show them like this quick, concise narrative about your business, and then they're going to call you and you get to fill in the blanks yourselves, and you get to make that sale, and you get to start from a place of knowledge with that client. So, because I could imagine if I called these guys, I'd be like, hi, do you guys cut down trees? You know, that would be probably my first question. But after watching this, I know exactly what they do, how they do it, and that they're the right people to call for the job. So I hope that's their testimony as well. But that was our goal in making this, was
Mhm.
to give you that sort of like base information that you can then make it, the client as well can make an informed decision about that company.
Exactly. Well, because it says everything from they do the small like backyard trails with the little guy to mega projects and have the resources to support it, and it says that all within 1 minute.
Yeah, it's a fun distillation. It's like carving, this type of video is like carving a video out of a piece of marble. It feels like you're whittling away the stuff you don't want in it
Yeah.
until you have what's left. Where sometimes a video feels like you're sculpting more with clay and you're building something that
Yeah,
you're getting exactly what you sort of dreamed up.
yeah.
So it's kind of two.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, just compare it to sculpting. It's just like sculpting.
It's just like sculpting. We're sculptors.
We're sculptors.
We're digital sculptors.
That's right. Sweet. Well, I think that's it for EM3 today. Thanks for talking with me, Ben. And to all of you out there, thank you very much for watching. We'll have another one next week.
Next week.
And we'll see you then.